Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Go Blue with Stu. I am your host, as always, Stu Douglass. Today, we're reacting to the game. Recorded this right after with Ant. We're on one of those hangouts on Twitter. We took some fan questions, talked about the game overall, what we saw, the final play, what we thought of that, just the heartbreaking, gut-wrenching loss that it was. And so we took a lot of questions, had a good time, always a good time with Ant. So I think you guys will appreciate it, but here is that recording.
I don't know, man. There was so much going on. I was trying to even take notes, I think, a little bit. And when you have two OTs, I realized when you're trying to evaluate a game and you have two overtimes, you forget anything that happened. Because now you're just watching the game and just hoping for it to one, be over, and then two, for who you want to win. It was just so discombobulated. I don't even know how to evaluate it. It was just mistakes, right? I feel like Illinois was scoring off of mistakes. I don't think they were super talented. I thought they were big. They're a big team, and they would get some advantages there. Meyer, it all depends what day he shows up to hit threes, step backs going to the right. That won the second OT. But I don't know, man. I just didn't think that they were all that great. And then you got guys like Rogers having a career day.
They didn't have a guard in the game. Their guard either left the team or is in concussion protocol. And their other guard, Sincere Harris, isn't really – he's more of your hype man, the guy who's going to come in and play good defense. He's not initiating offense or anything like that. So, that's another thing. They gave up – I know it was double OT, but you gave up over 90 to a team who didn't have a backcourt player on offense. They had four wings, four wings in a stretch four.
Well, there was a stretch there where they scored. I don't know what they were scoring a bunch just in the paint, and they only shot 3 threes, and they had what they have the 50th ranked, somewhere around the 50th ranked 3-point rate shooting wise. How many they get up?
They get them up there for sure.
And they didn't. They just attacked Michigan and got to the paint. I mean, the help side defense was bad. I mean, it was really, really bad.
Yeah, it was. And the boxing out was terrible. Was awful.
Yeah. I mean, it was just late reactions and a lot of things. I mean, Melendez should not be scoring 10 points in the second half. There was that one where, Chelsea looked at me and was like, how many dunks are they going to get? It's they shouldn't. You should never. There was one possession in particular where Jet was late to rotate, and it was Hawkins got a dunk off of a pin down or a ball screen. I don't remember. Just a simple roll. And I'm just thinking that's one of the deadly sins. You just can't give up dunks off of easy, basic rolls. I don't know what exactly happened they were worried about, which is odd because those guys can't shoot. Maybe worry about Meyer, but everyone else you should just let shoot. I don't know.
They go down 9. Michigan goes down 9.
Yeah.
They put in, I believe it was Joey and Terrace came in, I believe, right, for T-Will and Jet, I want to say. And they went on a 10-0 run immediately, and you saw Kobe kind of just took over there over the course of 2.5 minutes. And for a team that blew 3 timeouts in the first half, they never really had to use it until until the game was at the absolute end. At the absolute end,
it was kind of nice.
Yeah, it definitely was. Where are you at in terms of? I feel like they've had this situation all year where they just can't close out opportunities. You could put this one under the same belt. They're up 7 with the minute 40 left. Up 7 with the minute 40 left. You have to close out that game. I mean, you don't even have to score. You don't need a field goal. All you have to do is execute 2 possessions to where even if you miss, you have good defensive transition and then just finish defensive possessions. That's all it comes down to. And they gave up what, 7 in a minute 20, and you give them an and one and
in the paint.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. I thought Terrace was good, but there was one where I think it was Shannon got downhill and he just was late, should have switched the screen, and then he fouled them at the end, which didn't actually end up hurting them. There's just a lot of mistakes in the paint and just on some rotations. I don't know. It was odd because you thought they went up 7 and you're like, oh, okay, they got this. This is just like the Wisconsin game. Like they're finally going to close out some stuff. And then it's like snap of a finger layups, which was odd. And
it's almost like when they went up 7 with the minute 45 left, you're sitting there like they're one stop away from winning this game.
Literally said that out loud. I was like, just you get the next stop, get to a minute, and then that becomes a much tougher game for Illinois.
Yeah, just one stop.
Yep, that's it.
One stop.
And I don't remember who scored on that possession right there.
It was Terrence Shannon 3-point play.
Yeah,
that got it down to 4.
1 of 2.
Yeah, I think Ty Rogers hit the reverse layup to cut it to 2 again, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they create some problems with their height, but it's like junk. I did not think Illinois was good.
They played all small forwards. Like they couldn't really run anything because they didn't have any guards. Like, think about that. Think about that. Like they had all wings.
And they still scored.
And they still scored. That's the part that it kind of shows like the gaps defensively that Michigan still has, and not being able to close out opportunities and be able to close out defensive possessions is the fact that a team went out there, ran quick hitters the whole game, no offense.
No, that was it.
Quick hitters, and figure it out. And they put up over 90. And I know it's double OT,
10 more
but
minutes.
Still, like, gave up over 90 to quick hitters in the Big Ten. That does not happen. It doesn't happen.
No, and especially when you have. I mean, I know Terrence Shannon is tough. Terrence Shannon, first of all, thinks he's like the coolest dude in the Big Ten. His dude loves himself with the braids or the bangs. He's got like the white girl bangs. It's hilarious to me. Anyways,
you know what though? He's fast. He's
so fast.
He's so fast, and he's like 6'6", 220.
But you stay in front of him, and he does not want to shoot an 8-footer over you. He does not. No, absolutely not. It's going to the rim, or that's it. I was a little surprised that Kobe had as much of problems as he did with him. There were some baseline drives. I think he refused a couple screens, and just going downhill. You know, it was like, you know, it's kind of one of those situations, and I'm probably not giving Shannon enough credit there. Where it's like, you know, they back off Westbrook. And it's like, all right, you're going to give me a 5-foot head start to go straight at you. Fine. You go ahead and guard this.
Right.
I thought, like, I don't know. I thought they still could have contained him a little more on those and not fouled as much. That's the other thing, man. Michigan's the exact same game. All these kids 1 or 2 years older don't foul like this. Like all the reach-ins, all the little ticky-tack fouls, the and ones there at the end, like none of that happens. Like there's like little things. I feel bad for Terrace, man. And I love this quote the other day. He was like, yeah, they tell me I'm reaching too much. Like, and I was like, that's hilarious. Like, that's he's like, yeah, I'm working on it. And I was like, I can appreciate that. But yeah, you want to get in there. You want to make a play so bad. And it's like, dude, just stay straight up. These guys aren't going to hit shots over you unless you're Matt Meyer at the end of second overtime.
We do have some people who have some questions or
hit us.
Things to say. Let's go with Zeke. You've been waiting up here for a while, man. Go ahead.
Appreciate it. Just my question for you guys and Stu. I don't have a problem with really how the game played out. It was like you said, it was ticky-tack both ways, and I have no problem feeding Hunter because he was on fire. You know what I'm saying? But why do you think Joey Baker is the one that gets the shot at the end? Like, I just feel like kind of knowing your place, and I feel like he's not the one that you look for the best shot. You think it for the last shot? You think it's because Kobe was going left-handed, going towards the left side of the court? I don't know. I just figured his last shot was that layup, driving baseline, and then two, it just hurts because you get the shot at the end of regulation, end of both overtimes, really. So that's just my one question. Why do you think Joey is the one that is the play is really designed for?
You want that or?
Yeah, I think because he's the guy that does that. Like, he's the only guy, Jet fouled out. He's the only guy that comes off screens and shoots those shots. That's it. And I mean, as a shooter, you mentioned this. I don't know where you were. I was listening, but you're like going left, like going towards your left as a right-handed shooter is great. You just go across your body. You don't have to turn all the way, square up fully. If it was going the opposite way for Joey. I think Kobe's fully capable of it, but it's not like his expertise coming off screens and shooting those shots.
Kobe's more of like a rhythm dribble, like off the bounce shooter, not like a sprint, come back, read
he'll
where
like
your defender
he'll
goes.
like come off a screen, pause, freeze you, then shoot. He does that a lot. And I don't know, man, like, you have Joey there, use him. I fully believe that he is the best guy to do that. It's easy to say when he misses a shot, and especially when he airballs it, but like, I don't know.
You take that every time, like wide open. And it wasn't even like a deep three. Like,
no, it was right there. It was almost too open, to be honest with you.
Yes, if anything, it was too open.
Yeah, he had thought for like a half second.
He was so open, he was like, holy crap, I can't miss this.
Yeah.
When that goes through your head, you're not going to make the shot.
No, not at all.
But when you're not thinking, you're unconscious, you usually have a much better chance at hitting it for sure.
I mean, it was a hell of a play drawn up.
It was. I called it too in playback. I called it. I said they're gonna have Joey come up and then just turn and get a rescreen. And sure enough, and I didn't expect it to be open because people run that play so many times. They're always on it. Illinois destroyed that switch. Just absolutely messed it up. Not even close. They guarded it so bad. That's why Joey was wide open coming off, because you had two guys ran to one, and the other guy ran the opposite way. Next thing you know, Joey has the ball with an opportunity to go to overtime, and then completely he just completely flexed it. He short-armed it. He was thinking way too much. He was
big time.
That was all between the ears. That had nothing to do with the shot itself, but that was just him just overthinking things.
I mean, you have Kobe come off of it, he bricks it, and then you complain that you had Joey in the game ready to do that. Like, I don't know. It's you hit it that every great. Time. Yeah, I'm not really worried about that. About Joey getting the shot. Why you have that?
I'm not necessarily don't want him in that spot. I'm just saying maybe with the game online, I want like my big time players and taking the big time shot. It's just what I'm saying. But you're right. That's who you do want. He's a shooter. That's his role. I'm just saying in the crunch time. But I appreciate it. Shout out to Michigan Legends.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Zeke. Let's go with Torrin next.
Thanks, Ant. What's up, Stu?
What's going on?
A couple thoughts from before. I don't know if Stu, you were in there yet. I know what you were on when we were talking about defense. Defensively, I thought they were terrible. And you can obviously talk about help side being bad, but that starts with on-ball defense. The on-ball defense was awful, especially given against a team that doesn't have, any guards. They let them get to the rim way, way too often. And then, sure, help should be there in certain cases, but with as bad as they were on the ball, that just contributed to the overall poor defense around. For me, no game ever, and I understand no game ever comes down to one play, but once they went up 7, Shannon had the and 1. I don't remember if it was right after that bucket or if I think it was on that inbounds when they were trying to break the press. Jet picked up his dribble. It kind of looked like a crap show for a minute. He gets it to Hunter, and then everybody that was watching, you knew an offensive foul was coming. You just sensed it. To me, well, the guards either have to come get the ball or that's where Juwan calls a timeout. For as long as Hunter had the ball there, you just knew something bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, not that it comes down to one play, but as soon as that happened, it just was, and Monday morning quarterback, but it was just easy to say, like, okay, Illinois is going to go down and score again. And then all of a sudden, a 7-point game is a 2-point game within 25 seconds.
What stunk about that is that they didn't execute and they didn't get a shot up in that possession when they just had the lead cut to 4. So
Right.
You're still up by 2 possessions. They still have to find a way to execute and do something there. They didn't run anything. Nothing was even at the rim. I thought that was as soon as Hunter was caught dribbling with his left, I thought timeout immediately. I thought when Jet picked the ball up and he was kind of didn't know where to go, timeout immediately. But still, like, you can't have guys like Doug and Kobe run from the ball. I don't care if those guys on you are being physical or whatever. You have to make that happen. Like you trained all summer, all spring to get open right there. Like you have to get open. You have to get the ball out of Hunter's hands. Even Jet was trying to come back for like a handoff concept. And at that point, it's just like if the ball's not with Doug or with Kobe, Michigan should have not been feeling very, very secure at that point.
Yeah. Well, you could tell when Jet had the ball in the backcourt, he wanted nothing to do with the ball in that moment. When he got the ball in the inbound, he took like one dribble and it was like, somebody come get this damn thing. I don't want it.
You saw Isley, I think, at right after that, get in Doug's face a little bit. Not like crazy, but like, be like, that's you. You got to go get the ball. Like, you can't just leave Jet out there. I don't think Doug has ever been scared. Doug has actually been he's pretty fearless when it comes to bringing the ball up the court in those situations.
He's like messing around with the ball between his legs. And all
dude, he always did.
Like, this dude is chilling out there, bro.
Yeah,
like,
and that was so. It was odd. It was like it seemed like a one-off that he just kind of let Jet go. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he thought that he would break the press with a pass over the top. I don't know. It was kind of odd.
He probably thought that, hey, Hunter and Jet might go into a little bit of two-man game here.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't think he was thinking,
I mean,
holy crap, I got to go get this ball.
You practice on purpose, not catching right there, like right across half court, like right in the corner. Like you absolutely.
JB put down lines. Remember, he put down lines.
You either crossed all the way to half court or you stayed back 10 feet. Like, do not get close to that. And so that was just no man's land.
He used to put down lines like 3 feet from the sideline. And used to say, do not ever have the ball over here. Because for like more than one reason is because you're going to get trapped by the sideline. But the biggest reason is passing the ball vertically is the worst angle to move the ball because there's the way that the angles work. If you pass the ball vertical, it's much easier for the defense to get a deflection, steal it, or jam you. So but they were all over. They were all in that space the whole time. And I'm just uneasy just watching the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hunter got it across that court. You thought, okay, we're maybe all right because they kind of backed away from him. And then as soon as he put his head down and started dribbling, it was done. If he would have just taken like a dribble and picked it up, I think the oh shit moment happens and Jawan or somebody calls timeout. You regather, but head was down. He kind of got away with a little arm bar most of the game. And you just kind of knew what was going to happen as soon as he dribbled.
100%.
Yeah. Big fella takes more than 5 dribbles. You're like, all right, here we go. There we
go. Let's go with Evan. He's been up here for a bit. Go ahead, Evan.
Appreciate it, Ant. Shout out to Stu and you, Ant, Michigan Legends. My first question would have to be, do you think if Jed is in the game, you think we drop that same, obviously great play by Joel there at the end of the game? I know you tweeted out that video of the bad, quote unquote, bad play calls at the end of the game. So that was a great play call. Do you think Jet gets that shot if he is in? And also, was there something you saw when we went up 7 that like what happened when we went up 7? I know Shannon was making N1s and Myers hitting step back 3s, but was there anything in particular you saw that like once we were up 7, that we kind of just stop playing defense or anything like that? I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' insight on that.
I think Jet gets that play for sure. I think maybe they guarded a little better. I don't know what they were doing.
That too. I think they will, because I don't think they expected that.
I think they don't switch, but I don't know.
I don't think they expected that was going to go to Joey. Honestly, I think that they expected that was going to go to Kobe. I think that's why they completely botched it. Or Hunter, yeah. That's why I think they completely botched everything.
Yeah, and the defensive part, I it's like watching an NFL game, right? And you're in prevent defense, and the other team is just marching down the field, and they're down 2 scores, and you're like, why is this so easy? And it's because you're playing not to lose the game. Football is obviously a little different, but I think it's very similar in basketball, right? Like, you don't want to foul. They're in double bonus and OT and double OT, and I think it was end of regulation for a while. And you're like trying not to make mistakes, and then you end up playing a little soft, and you're worried about your man because you don't want your man to score when you're like trying to get a stop when when sphincters get real tight there at the end. So it's a combination of things. I mean, it's rampant in all of sports. I think college, NBA, it doesn't matter what sport it is, really. Like, the comebacks happen for a reason, and they happen a lot for a reason, like at least getting it close. I think they just played a little timid. I mean, there really wasn't too much to do besides like keep your rotations tight and box out. I don't know if I really wanted them pressing at all the way to half court. I thought they were actually pressuring Shannon too much out top.
I agree.
Giving him a lot of confidence to see like open spaces there below the 3-point line, which is exactly
100%. I agree 100% with that piece. It reminds me of when they were guarding AJ Hogard out there at State last year.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, I know Terrence is a good shooter, and I think they were pressuring because they felt that they had no guards, so they could really disrupt them. But after you get blown by a couple times, I think you have to adjust there and be more containing more than anything else. They didn't shoot that many threes tonight. And like, for a team that that's what they do, is they shoot a bunch of threes.
Yeah.
For them to just not have to settle for threes because they were getting to the rim too many times, I think they should have made some adjustments there. I'm sitting here watching. I'm watching when they got that Hunter charge thing, and it's a 4-point game. Kobe's guarding Shannon out by the State Farm side, letting him get all the way to his left. Everybody collapses, and then Ty Rodgers just finishes with a little like underneath loop-de-loop thing.
Did Doug let him go? Did Doug let him cut back?
No, that was someone else.
I don't remember who was there.
Terrace was guarding Rodgers, and Terrace got lost.
Yeah.
Because you had Hunter stayed in the paint because Hawkins went out to the wing, and then Ty snuck baseline, and Shannon hit him.
Yeah, you can't lose. You just can't.
Yeah,
you guys
can't lose anybody.
You think Jet hurts us on defense and defense rebounding? I don't know if you saw, there was one point they got an offensive rebound, they cut to Jet, and he just says, fuck. Like, he gave up an offensive rebound. Like, I feel like he hurts us offensively and defensively. Not offensively, sorry, defensively and rebounding wise. Like, he gives up a lot of offensive rebounds and can't really guard anybody.
That was the play right before the half. Real quick, Evan, where that cutaway was.
Yeah. He's like, fuck. Yeah, you boxed out. Please,
Ty Rodgers.
I can't hate on Jet. He's been great for us. So I'm just wondering. It seems like he does hurt us on defense and rebounding wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty apparent the mistakes he makes on those. And I mentioned the Hawkins dunk earlier off a roll. Like, he was there and help side and just kind of standing and looking and reacted late and didn't really contest it at all. Yeah, I mean,
no hard foul either. Like,
yeah. I mean, he was
We're
too
just
late.
letting them.
He was too late to even foul. It was going to be an and
Yeah,
one.
which is a whole different argument. You gotta be there for it.
Yeah, it's been
You
his.
gotta be there for it.
It's been his biggest struggle. I don't know what the numbers say, but it's definitely. You definitely saw the defense without him. Like, I mean, Rutgers is different though. I just don't think Rutgers is very. They're just not good offensively. It's a little different. And Wisconsin's pretty slow, but. Yeah, I mean, it's been glaring mistakes. But this game is like, we're going to highlight every little thing that happened. So I don't know overall with all that, but it's been something you leave something to be desired. That's for sure.
The biggest thing is the pressure out to almost half court. The whole game is kind of wild. It's kind of wild.
It was the one game where I was like, okay, zone, fine. The only game I've ever thought this year where I was like, zone could be okay. And they still almost jacked it up to start. But I was like,
my only thing is the rebounding out of the zone. Yeah. Because like they can't even rebound in man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying we can't rebound out of the man. So like that's
I mean, then what's the difference, honestly? Like,
yeah, what's the difference? Yeah, that too. That too. Let's go with Brian. He's an Illinois guy.
What's good, Ant?
What's up, Brian?
First off, just want to say, obviously, great game. I think what hurt Michigan the most is that they kind of needed this one to, keep it going. They kind of, early in the year, they really shot themselves in the foot. Obviously, you guys have probably covered it with some of the losses, but just needing to go on the road to Illinois and win a game to, I guess they could still make a run in the tournament. They're playing really good basketball right now, and they've got a lot of really good players, but yeah, I think that for me, the big takeaway is, and this is maybe a little too macro, but you look at Illinois, their best two players tonight were the two transfers. And then at the end of the game, you look at who's, taking the last shot for Michigan. It's kind of a transfer that they kind of just got, I don't know, more or less just because they kind of had to get someone to have a body out there. And I think it's just kind of, more or less the story of how you look at Shannon and Meyer have been our best two players all year long.
Yeah,
maybe a player of that level could, make it so Michigan doesn't need the game on the road in, the start of March to, keep the tournament hopes alive. Just, I thought that was the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah, I think, saying that, that does have me think about how many minutes these young guys were playing earlier. Do I think if we have, if there are more experienced players playing in some of those bad games and against Central just to get Michigan through, right? And so those freshmen can get their lumps, but when they get their lumps, they're not also getting a loss, right? Like you can get lumps and still win, and then you can go back into the film room and fix some things. But for sure, like that would be a lot better. Like I'm looking at overtime, Michigan's up 2 with 31 seconds left. I see 3 true freshmen on the court. Kobe Buffkin, who's the same age as a freshman, played none last year, and Hunter, out there trying to like close this game out. And maybe if there's really good transfers who are able to get them through early, and by the time when the freshmen are ready to play a lot more minutes, this is just a much better team overall. Similar to how because Ty Rodgers wasn't thrown into the fire early, right? Yeah, he really struggled, but you guys had experienced players to kind of get you through some things. You guys had Coleman, you guys had Terrence, you guys had Meyer, to really get you through some tough games. And you guys took a lump against Missouri, but you guys still beat some really good. Yeah, but you guys still beat a really good Texas team. You beat a really good UCLA team. You know what I mean? So you were able to have experienced guys to get you through some of those. So by time now you're in game what? This was game 30 for you guys. No, now you have Ty Rodgers playing a lot of minutes, like night and day from when this first started. Sincere Harris playing a lot of minutes. Pretty much sat Dane because he couldn't play in this game, and Coleman Hawkins playing the five as hard as he could.
9 minutes for Coleman tonight. That guy.
Yeah, like he played all but 1 minute, all but one. And then you had like Brandon Lee come in to just offer another body. Yeah, so like if anything, this is a really good win for Illinois, being able to win this game without a guard. Like
Yeah, I hope that's all right.
you know what I mean?
You guys kind of touched on it, but since they couldn't really run anything, and obviously there was a lot of noise. Obviously, most people in here don't really pay that much attention to Illinois. There was a lot of noise during the week about their 3-point shooting and how much they shot it, and you could really tell today. And maybe it was because Epps was out and they couldn't really run anything, but they just really kind of just put their head down and by hook or by crook, try to get 2 feet in the lane. So, and it worked out pretty efficiently, I thought, for most of the night. And obviously, you can't.
100%. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Ant.
Let's go with Ryan.
What's up, man?
What's up, Ryan?
Just a couple things. I just want to know your thoughts on the amount of switching that Michigan does, especially with being 30 feet away from the basket and essentially predetermined. I think that causes mismatches and then rebounding mismatches as well. And then also with defensively, I think it was a terrible effort with knowing the scout. I mean, Terrence Shannon just got downhill left-handed drives all night. And then guys just flying past non-shooters, just leaving the lane wide open for dunks and just shots at the rim.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you put Terrace out there. I mean, I even tweeted, I was like, you need to switch everything with Terrace right now in the last minute and a half. And I mean, in the middle, beginning of the game, no, but you got to play different at the end of a game than you do at the beginning, because you're going to get attacked more and you want to force as much one-on-one, not create any advantages where you can, set a ball screen and then create a 4-on-3 situation. So I don't know. The switching is tough, but I thought Terrace was out there to do just that. I think Juwan is comfortable having him switch on the guards and hold his own. Terrence Shannon's just a really good player, and he put him in a blender there and got that and one. That was huge. But he was right there. He did 95% of the work and then just put his hand down and was, in Terrence's space in his plane and got a foul call on him. I mean, he was right there really close, but I don't know. I go back and forth with that stuff because I've seen them high hedge at the end of games and try not to give up a three, right? If they're up 3 and they want to hedge and make sure they don't get off open 3, but then they've hedged too hard. They've gone out too far towards the half court and then create an advantage underneath. So I don't know. It's a give and take. You just have to deal with it. Like, there's never going to be a perfect world, right? If you run a ball screen and the ball handler comes off and he shoots it and your big guy is hedging and he's out of position for rebounding, like, it's no different than switching everything and then kind of being out of position matchup wise. You just have to deal with it. You have to figure it out. You have to box out and do the best you can. Sometimes the ball isn't going to bounce your way, but I think that switching there at the end was probably the right play.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, if you're looking at Illinois, there's really no difference in each player. Like, I know, yes, there's a difference between Terrence Shannon and Meyer and
but the rest
Holman, but like they're all pretty much the same prototype. And when you have that, switching takes away the leverage from not switching. So if you don't switch, it's much easier to get around the corner and get to the lane, get to the paint, get within 18 feet, and that's when chaos ensues. Like, you have to understand that Michigan struggled guarding today while Illinois ran quick hitters. Like, they didn't run offense. Like, go back and watch this. They ran maybe 1-2 passes concept, then they were just playing. This was a rough game, especially despite all the stuff that was going on in this game. Up 7 with the minute 45 to go. Just execute, take care of the ball and execute, and you win the basketball game. That's all it comes down to.
And then one more thing is I think Cheddar could have got a few minutes there in overtime or even in the end of the second half, even with the 4 fouls. I think even maybe over T. Will. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. I feel that no. I don't think so. I think what Cheddar did, like just like in these games, is the fact that like one, like he put dudes on their ass every time he fouled them.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not late on rotations. He's there to try to take charges. Chance Shannon tried to like bring the house down with the big dunk, and
it's not a foul.
Put him on his ass. He put him on his ass, right? I think Cheddar was +7 today.
Yeah. 9 minutes.
And a lot of that was because he's not looking to score. Like all he's looking to do is just do his job and just play his role, and for everyone else to just do their thing. I don't think that was a spot for him, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't throw him in that fire. The whole point of Cheddar is just to make sure that, you know, it just offers much better balance at the start of games and the start of halves. When he's in, like it's much better balanced. But in this situation, I didn't mind with them going with the more experienced player in T. Will. No, they weren't in a lesson teaching vibe at that point. It was, hey, look, who's going to help us win this game? And they went with a more seasoned player, which I can't argue with.
What can we do? I love Will, but he's got to remember this. He's tall as hell. Some of his charges, I love him, man. I do. I love his energy. I love his personality. I love what he brings. But there's a lot of times where I'm like, block that shot, dude. Just block that shot and start the fast break.
6'9". Like sometimes him jumping straight up is better than any charge.
Oh, for sure. I always believe that. Always. Like, especially
you know how
especially in college.
Draymond?
Yeah.
How he just jumps straight, not to block, just jump straight up with his hand straight up at like 10 and a half, 11 feet. Like, how do you
you're gonna make that the other opposing player, like good players will make that 33% of the time.
Yes, they would struggle.
Yes. So
at the NBA level, they struggle.
Right.
Like, man, do that in college. Like, dudes already have a problem finishing because all they want to do is that Euro stuff.
Yeah. I know he's eager. He's eager to get those charges and put himself in position, but there's a lot of times where you got to learn it, right? It's all feel. I think him and Terrace, especially as big men, it's a little different, like timing. Like, do I have enough time to get over there to block the shot? Do I have enough time to get over there to take this charge? How the speed of the game? How fast is this guy? Is this guy slower? So it's all sorts. It's just an experience thing that, you know, like if this team was just 1 year older, it's a totally different story. Obviously, that you could say that about a lot of teams, but
he's played under 300 minutes.
Yeah,
like this isn't a guy who was playing early. Like this is a dude who
I got that in 10 games.
Yes, that's Stu. I got that in 20 because I'm not from Carmel.
Yo, that's true.
I didn't have a pool at my school.
I had an above ground pool in Cicero, Indiana.
Listen, that TikTok took 3 minutes and it probably didn't even show the whole school.
No, it sure didn't. And it's under construction. It's like it's actually expanding.
It probably is expanding. You probably have like dorms and stuff.
They're getting close to it.
Ridiculous. Let's go with Griffin.
Hey there, thanks for the opportunity to talk. I was just curious. Obviously, you alluded to this before, but Illinois really got to the rim tonight. They're a high 3-point shooting team, but it really seemed like the Michigan defense was fighting on those pump fakes, and that really seemed like a detriment, especially in the first half. Do you think that was a scheme thing or just bad discipline on the part of the Michigan players defensively?
Like they take a lot of threes, and you know that coming in, where they will take threes from wherever, however. They average like I believe almost 30 threes a game.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew that coming into it. So you knew guys had to, somewhat contest. But Illinois just kept putting the ball on the deck and getting to the paint repeatedly.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like they were antsy. I mean, there was one. It was like that Melendez one where he got a layup. Doug just closed out on him way too hard. And I understand that because you're a lot shorter than Melendez, and so you really want to get up there. You really don't want to make him let him get a shot off when the scouting report is these guys get a lot of threes off. We can't let them get going. But I don't know. That's some experience. I don't know. I get it, right? It's one of those. It's a kind of lose-lose where if you let a team shoot early, then they start hitting them. Then you look dumb, and then the reverse, you look dumb. But yeah, they should have just been a lot more disciplined on their closeouts. They're just, that's that half step slow. We talked about it before. All it takes is half a step to be too slow, and that you've already thrown yourself out of position and made it that much harder on you to close out. So it boils down to that a lot of times, that half step.
Yeah, it's over after that.
Yep.
Corey, what's up?
Hey guys, want to focus on a really specific event that happened in the game. Hopefully you guys remember it. There was a situation where Hunter Dickinson drew a foul on Coleman Hawkins on right about the left elbow on the lane, and to me it seemed like a complete and total flop. The thing I want to focus on there, though, is not so much that it was a flop, but on the macro perspective in college basketball, have officials kind of just given up on calling flops? It seems like it has, watching many games. And then on a micro perspective, Underwood screamed and screamed and screamed for a hook and hold there. And there was definitely no hook and hold, not even close. No. Do you think he screamed for that to be able to force the officials to watch Hunter flop and hope to get a makeup call after the fact?
Honestly, I think he called that because he's not playing a lot of guys and he wanted to give them another rest, if anything.
I mean, Meyer got away with the hook and hold. I can't believe they didn't review that before.
The one on Hunter?
The one on Jet. Remember when Meyer?
Oh, yeah.
That was. I thought that was bad. I might be wrong. I got to watch that again. But I think
also Hunter got hit in the face.
Yeah. So I mean, he
all the flop stuff afterwards.
He flopped, but when you watch the video playback and somebody flops, but there is contact, it's not a flop call. So he did get hit in the face, luckily, because Hunter won earlier this year where he just fell down. What game was that? Okay, he just like dropped to the floor like a sack of potatoes. It was hilarious, and he got him in the back. But this one, I think he got hit in the face. Coleman's a funny dude. He was given the review sign like the entire game. He was.
Yeah, he was. He was like, "Come on, I don't care if there's 10 minutes left. No. Come on, let's go review."
But what was the question on a macro level? Like, is it a problem with, or not calling it?
I don't know why they stopped calling flops.
I mean, Meyer, he got called for that one, and he
thought there was some contact.
Yeah, there was kind of some contact. I mean, somebody was in his space a little bit. I just remember that Terrace foul on that Meyer 3-pointer. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to watch enough games. Maybe if you collected all the data and everything, but it's I think there's a lot more contact in these situations than people realize, and that's not. If somebody does get touched, no matter how egregious they act, like it's just not going to get called.
I feel you get fouled on almost every possession, like to some extent. Like the Big Ten is so physical, bro. I don't know. It's like
you'd shit your pants if you tried to ref a Big Ten game.
It's
you'd
impossible.
Lose your mind. Yeah, you'd make one call wrong and you'd be like, oh God, you'd freak out. Like how these guys do it. I know like there's some issues there, but I don't know. It's not an easy job, to say the least.
That's facts. Let's go with Peter.
What's up, y'all? Couple things. I feel like Doug coming out of the gates is so confident getting to that midi pull up, when they're playing like drop coverage, and he sort of fades away from that
I don't know if it's just late in games or as the game goes on. I get that you kind of want to speed Dickinson and get Kobe touches late in the game. I just feel like he could get to that spot a couple more times.
Melendez.
Second thing, Hunter Dickinson's a 40% 3-point shooter. I feel like he should be taking more than like 1.6 3-point attempts a game. Just seems a little low for somebody shooting that high of a percentage. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts.
Well, the Doug thing, especially this game, everybody was 6'6" or up.
Yeah, he went off, and then they were like, all right, screw that. Like, you're going to go on the ball screen. We're going to do drop coverage, and Melendez is going to be trailing behind you like a tall tree.
Right, exactly.
It's going to be like shadow that his limbs just over you, and you can see it's like a scary movie.
They did a good job adjusting to Doug, honestly. I thought this was going to be a tough matchup for Doug because just personnel-wise, they just don't have anybody shorter than 6'6", really, outside of Sincere, but he didn't play that much. But they adjusted to him fairly well. So what?
It would have been better for Doug if Sincere played a little better and stayed in the game
too, and not get concussed.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too.
And then your second question.
Yeah, I was just saying, for Hunter being a 40% 3-point shooter.
Oh yeah.
You think you want to take more than like, I think he's averaging like 1.6 a game right now.
Yeah, if this was JB, he'd probably get like 3 to 4 a game.
It is odd though, the pick and pops.
I feel like it's open. There's like 3 or 4 times a game I'm just screaming at him to at least just shoot it.
What I love, and I think they run this really well every time, and I don't know why they don't use it more often. Kobe gets it. They set a screen, like one of the guys catches on the wing, and instead of setting a screen to have the ball handler go towards the middle, they set a screen angled so that the ball handler goes towards the baseline. The big will automatically help more off that because instead of drop coverage, he's going to play a little more hedge. And Hunter he just turns around and sticks to the 3-point line. And I feel like that's been open for him his entire career at Michigan, and it's something they could probably utilize more. It's a good point. Something I don't think they think about a lot.
Is that a pistol?
Let's get Hunter threes, but it's not a bad play.
Is that a pistol screen? Is that what that is? Is that a pistol?
Oh, wow, I forget. Yeah, maybe. I thought pistol. Yeah, I think
I have to look it up. Yeah, I think that's a pistol. I agree there. But then it's like, but then you're like, he should be playing. He should be able to feast on someone like Coleman at the same time, right? 6'10", 6'11", 215. Yeah. Hunter usually takes full advantage of those matchups. He can catch it within 8 feet, but Coleman did a really good job at forcing Hunter to catch it at 15, 16, 17 feet consistently. I don't know how he was doing it. I have to go back and watch. I know Hunter had a really good game, but Coleman made that dude work the whole game. Like the whole game, he made Hunter work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and watch just like what he was doing to force Hunter to catch it so far out. Hunter never got the ball within like 5 feet where he could just catch it, turn, and hook. Like he had to work like throughout the entire game. And you know what? Part of that may be the reason why he missed that last free throw to tie the game. Just that little fatigue and just making him work and down there wrestling for 40-plus minutes, it takes a toll on you.
I mean, yeah. Everyone does their work early on Hunter, and they know if they push him a little bit that he'll get outside the paint. I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways they can take advantage of that. A lot of spin moves and seals. Somebody gets above you at 15 feet. I don't think they've really done a really great job of taking advantage of teams being hyperactive on the front. Or on the push. I mean, Hunter's got a good spin move, and you see Trace Jackson Davis use that a lot. It's that NBA move. Now Trace is more like Blake Griffin than Hunter Dickinson is, but
you're right.
You kind of fake out and do a spin move and seal for oop. And I feel like Hunter, that's there. Like that positioning the defense is giving up is there. But they're just a lot more methodical. And so, he's calling for the ball. You see it all the time. Like big guys lose positions all the time because they're like worried about the ball, and then they forget that they need to be holding their ground. You catch it at 17, and then Beeline would yell at the guards all the time. So you got to throw that in earlier. Like you can't be given. Although Petey would catch the ball at 17, and you were fine with it. So that's a little different.
Yeah, because he's like a guard, low key.
Yeah, he was.
I know what I could see Hunter taking more threes.
Me too.
Especially more pick and pop stuff. It leaves the paint wide open for drivers, guys like Doug, guys like Kobe. Maybe like if you have like a handoff with Jet and he's going downhill. And even with Terrace, Terrace being able to occupy the dunker spot or somewhere down low when Hunter is picking and popping and being more of a quote unquote perimeter guy. I can see him taking 2 or 3 more threes per game. Just to keep that spacing, especially when they go to a more clunky lineup.
Yep.
It's not even specifically this game. It's more of when he knows he's going to get doubled on the touch.
Yeah.
And if he's going to get doubled, it's a pass to say T Will. But would you rather have Hunter take the wide open 3 than a T Will swing around 3?
Yeah, but I also don't want to avoid posting up just because they're double teaming either, because that's probably what the other team wants. Yeah. Like, would you rather Hunter taking 5 threes or getting the ball on the block 5 times? I think the other team would take the 5 threes every time. And that also wears the other team down. Because when Hunter catches the ball on the block, all 5 defenders are going to adjust to that. That's not always happening when he's on the 3-point line. You know what I mean? So I think if you can adjust a bit with some pick and pops and getting him wide open, but for the most part, that's someone who you don't want the other team to dictate what you do.
I think they've also focused, I think they've told Hunter that he needs to roll more, because there's a lot of times at the beginning of the year he wasn't rolling at all on a lot of these situations, and they're like the middle of the paint was wide open for him. Now I think the guards could have found him better on the perimeter when he was popping, but I think it's been a big focus, especially in this offense with these guards. It's like we need to get more space in the perimeter. You got to roll. You're 7 foot. You got to go take up space in the paint and use your gravity and attract the defense. So that makes sense to me. It's, balance in sports is very tough. It's a very fickle thing. So I think if you can get him 2 more, 3 more, great. But then does that, if he starts popping more, does that actually turn into 7 or 8 or empty possessions where he's popping where he should be rolling? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I can find that balance.
It's crazy that Hunter had 31 and 16 and we're sitting here just realizing just Hawkins did a really good job on him. I know we had 31 and 16, but still Hawkins made that dude work for every single one of those points.
Yeah, I was
every single one.
Into regulation. I really thought Hunter coulda, shoulda, woulda scored that. And Coleman just stood his ground, and Hunter got off balance, kind of flicked it up. So yeah, I think you got to give Hunter or Coleman a lot of credit for the amount of work and effort he put into it.
100%. Let's go, Steve.
What up, Ant?
What's up?
So there's 2 games now where you got the game in the bag. All you have to do is not foul the shooter, and you probably win the game. I just put it into Torvik's team cast, and if you take the Iowa game and tonight's game, mark them as wins, Michigan's a 9 seed. So my question around that is, I know in general, Coach B was a play tough D without fouling, and you guys wouldn't even foul guys who were going for layups and be make them earn the 2. But did you guys talk about that in practice and film, and even at the end of games, it seems like at the end of the game, when you have the only way they're going to be able to close the gap is by scoring and then fouling you, and then you guys missing free throws. Was it emphasized to you guys, do not foul a shooter in those late game situations where they're going to have to try and score and foul in desperation mode?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's every coach I've ever had since I was like, 10. I think Terrace is just, he's very eager and overzealous at times with his aggressiveness on defense. I don't know. It's a give and take here for me. Like, if that's a focus from the beginning of the year, maybe he doesn't foul there, but also like you just cannot foul shooters when you're not going to block the shot. Like, that's just a known rule forever and ever and ever. So I don't know if you really telling him making that a focal point is going to change much. And he doesn't have the liberty. He doesn't have like the luxury to sit Terrace next game to like, teach him a lesson. It's just not that opportunity isn't there. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
Did you ever foul a 3-point shooter, Stu?
I have a couple times.
You did?
Was there one you remember? There was one.
You probably had to run for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, like you just walk away, and I'm like, when like the end of your time there, you're like, it no longer hurt you. You're just like kind of racking them up. You're just like, all right, move on. Freshman year, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Right.
And I'm like, I think I only did it maybe once or twice, and it was like recovering a little too hard around a screen or something,
Yeah. I will say this, within anything at the basket, it was taught pretty hardcore to wall up.
To his point, yeah.
His thing was wall up, which means like you put your chest, you're almost fouling them with your chest and your hips, but your hands are straight up, never breaking vertical. That was his thing. Which is like almost impossible to foul.
Yeah.
But that was his thing.
This was me and Horford all the time. And it, like, it's funny because when you play enough minutes or you just get to be older, sophomore, junior, senior, and the freshman comes in and he fouls and he's like, that's not a foul. And you're like, buddy, your hands went down. The ref does not care. You just do not. I can't tell you the amount of times I said verbatim, do not give him a chance to call that foul. Like, don't even give him the opportunity to call that foul.
Started to sound like JB.
yeah, exactly. Like, don't even let these, because they're, JB, he hated the refs. So I was like, don't let these idiots even give him a chance. That's basically.
This is a point of emphasis. These dummies don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to call it every single time. God dang it.
Yeah, the point of emphasis. That was so funny. Oh, man. Used to write them hard.
Cool story, bro moment. You guys were talking about reffing these Big Ten games, and back in the day, Rob Pelinka came to the IM building and ran pickup with all us little muggles that were just students down. And I remember playing him, and when it was away from the ball, bro was playing football. But then if he got the ball and he was going for a shot, if it was like, he was calling a foul.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, you just fucking threw me 3 yards out of bounds. No. Was it like that? Like, is that the way the games are actually? I mean, you see guys get mugged on shots, like especially on the road in this league, but it's just like away from the ball, it's just like fucking war. But then if you're going up for a shot, it's like kind of normal.
I hate it, man. Like, you can box out somebody 15 feet away from the basket. I mean, just drive your body into them, which I think is insane to me, to be honest with you. Yeah. But if you wall up, like Cheddar walled up against Shannon, and because the offense initiated it on that dunk attempt, Terrence got the call. And granted, it's Will, so people, I think the refs assume at this point that Will's going to foul guys, but unfairly. But yeah, it's odd. It is odd on the ball versus off the ball, what you can and cannot do in the physicality. I think that you learn how to get really, really physical without having that like brunt force contact like lineman, right? You like ease into it and then you push out, and that's not as bad, like away from the ball. You start running away from the ball and start knocking people over, it's very different. But yeah, you definitely learn how you can be more physical away from the ball and like really foul them. You just really foul people away from the ball and get
You
away.
could do some damage to like someone's sternum.
Yes.
You you cut the wrong way around me, bro. You're about to not breathe.
Hey, I was standing here, bro. Like, what do you want? I didn't.
Like, what do you mean? I didn't move.
Dude, I remember in basketball camp we would do drills where they all put the ball in the circle and you gotta keep the man away from the ball for like
jeez,
like fucking 8 seconds, and it's like this is the
brutal
game.
Yeah.
100%.
See dude like literally turn around and like 2-hand drive block, dude. Like that's your box out.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let's go with Joe and then Evan, and then we'll wrap it up, bro.
Hey, man.
What up, Joe?
How you been? Good.
I've been good. You, man?
Have you been better? I've been better. I hate Big Ten basketball, bro. And we won tonight. I hate Big Ten basketball. Like, I hop in, and the first thing I want to talk about is officiating. It's like,
oh man,
I can't watch a half a minute game without a bet. Like everything being a charge.
Yeah.
Like there was a play in the first half, I think it was, when Rogers was backing down. I think he was backing down Kobe, and Kobe flopped, and they called the charge. And then next play down, Melendez. So I think Kobe drove on him, and he kind of like put out the armbar, and I was screaming. Like if RJ would have flopped, they would have gave him the call because everything in college is a charge. I hate it. It's so bad.
I hate the block charge. I hate the block charge so much. It's whenever the commentators say it could have gone either way, it should have been a block every single time.
High school games this year where like are much more cleaner than college games. It's so bad how college games are officiated.
It's so tough because these guys are refereeing pretty much every single night. The speed of the game is really, really fast. You're still going against big bodies, and there were really poor calls on both sides. And like I said earlier, I think the whistle favored Michigan. Which they needed it, but still, like they, like I'm watching it. I just paused it. The 7-point game, 138 left, and Michigan goes to double OT. Like, if they end up hosting NIT games, they have several games to look at. Like, hey, win 2 of these.
Yep.
You guys
definitely had some moment this year where it was there. But you guys were also 10-10 like a month ago, and you had chances to even have a chance.
A lot of reason why they were 11-10 because they didn't finish games like this.
Yeah,
like there's several, and they didn't win any of them, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You know what? They won Wisconsin. They won Wisconsin, but like
what it took to win that one.
Yeah, a game where. Yeah, so I mean, you're looking at a situation where Michigan is up double digits on UVA. UNC is mid. Kentucky is mid. Looking at Purdue by 5. Looking at Indiana by 1 or 2. Looking at Iowa, you're winning late. Look at this game, you're winning late. I mean, then you lose to Central. I mean, come on, bro.
You guys have been in a rough spot. This Illinois season has been so weird because we've got the good wins, like beating UCLA. Like, I wasn't even mad when they lost to Virginia after that. That was whatever. Like, they couldn't close it. All right. The Texas win was so good. They're so weird. If you looked at Illinois and you saw them as a 7, which I think that's probably what they'll be, a 7 or an 8, what 1 or 2 seed do you think would be they could beat them, in the second round? Because I have a feeling that's going to – I don't know
that Illinois could beat them.
Yeah, like, do you think Illinois has a shot to do something like that? Like,
I don't think any team would be afraid of Illinois just because of their backcourt situation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they don't have consistent enough guard.
I said it in May. I said Courtney Ramey.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking about literally all they needed was a guy like him to be a veteran.
Yeah, go back to the tweets. I said all they need is Courtney Ramey. Like that's all they need. And relying on two true freshmen for this type of team who's built to do something in March, to not go get a veteran point guard. I mean, how good is he for Arizona right now?
Yep.
Like, you get that dude, and you guys could have afforded him. Your NIL people do a great job. I mean, you're one piece away. And then now, maybe Sky Clark is still there. And now you have Sky and Epps coming off the bench, battling for time. Maybe even having Ramey and then Epps in the game. And then you got Shannon, Meyer, Coleman to like close out games. I mean, you guys, one piece away from really being scary. But at the same time, if you get a good matchup, good things can happen. But your backcourt situation is really limiting you, honestly.
Back on the couch to wrap everything up. Appreciate you guys listening, tuning in to me and Ant, everybody on that hangout. Talk about the game, answer some questions. Tough loss, just heartbreaking for the kids. Honestly, just feel gutted for them. I will end with this note: is I've seen a lot. I just started to look at this Real app. It's like Real Sports, really great app. And I'm reading the Michigan Instagram basketball account, and just the vitriol directed at these kids is wild to me. One, it's not that serious, and two, there's another person on the end of those comments that can see those. And I don't think people realize how much it affects kids, anybody, to see those comments. It's not fair. They're not trying to intentionally hurt you by their play. They're not trying to intentionally miss shots. And this is not a, missing a shot or having a bad game is not indicative of these people. We don't need to diminish these kids because of some basketball performance. And it's honestly pretty disgusting to see some of these comments directed towards these kids when they're just giving it their all. All they want to do is win a basketball game. I mean, they could not be caring more about that. And to say otherwise is just disingenuous at best. And so please be nice to these kids. Please, I know fandom is a very serious thing. And it's why college sports is so great, because that committed fandom, and it's always appreciated. But it's really not that serious for you to go turn around and tell someone they suck at something. I mean, put yourself in their shoes. It'd be the last thing you want to hear from someone who's never been in their shoes before. Like, you just, it's terrible. And so please, I implore all of you to just take a breather and try and process it on your own, and not take it out on these kids on social media, whatever format it is. But I do appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back next week right after the IU game. Hopefully I'm release something Tuesday, Wednesday, right before the Big Ten tournament. As always, subscribe, rate the show wherever you listen to the podcast. Tweet at me, SWD_317. Tell me I'm stupid. That's fine. Direct all your hate towards me. I don't really care. It's a lot of fun to talk with you guys on Twitter and to just, throw opinions back and forth. But it is fun watching this team, and I am gutted for them. I know how hard they've worked and how far they've come in the last couple of months. So I'm still excited for IU, still hopeful. That glass is still half full there. So it'll be fun to see how they finish out the season. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week.